We are turning off the tap and we are wearing Hamas down. Well, that's the message from Israel's defense minister. Additional forces will soon join troops already pressing deeper into Rafah.
That statement comes as Israel faces a legal challenge over its military operation in Rafah at the International Court of Justice. Chris Mitchell brings us the story from Jerusalem.
Despite international condemnation, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu told soldiers that Israel's operation into Rafah, the last major stronghold of Hamas with 4 battalions, will go on and is crucial.
The battle in Rafah is critical. It's not just the rest of their battalions, it's also their oxygen pipes for escape and resupply. This battle, of which you are an integral part, is a battle that decides many things in this campaign.
Israel's defense minister Yoav Gallant says more IDF troops will soon join the fighting in Rafah. He says the military action is working, that the IDF is cutting off Hamas's ability to rearm and resupply.
The meaning is we are turning off the tap on Hamas. We are wearing Hamas down.
And Israel today beginning its response to an international legal challenge to its action in Rafah by South Africa. It's asking the International Court of Justice to order Israel to stop its attack on Rafah and indeed get out of the Gaza Strip altogether.
Immediately, totally and unconditionally withdraw Israeli army from the entirety of the Gaza Strip.
But Israel's representative in The Hague emphasized the importance of the Rafah operation. There are dozens of tunnels in Rafah, including those that cross into Egypt. Abductees are held in these tunnels. And in New York, the UN Security Council held its first meeting focused on the hostages held by Hamas, with the U.S. and other countries demanding they be released. Back in the Middle East, the U.S. says the first trucks carrying aid for Gaza have rolled across a newly built U.S. floating pier. A State Department spokesman said the aid from offshore is crucial as deliveries by land continue to be disrupted by the war, terrorism, or hijackings. The pier was attacked by terrorists in late April. Hamas promises to attack any foreign troops seen helping to bring in aid via that new pier. And in Washington, congressional Republicans, joined by 16 Democrats, have passed a bill to force President Biden to send weapons to Israel. Biden already stopped one shipment of bombs and threatens to halt more deliveries if Israel launches a full-scale invasion of Rafah.
This is a catastrophic decision with global implications. It is obviously being done as a political calculation, and we cannot let this stand.
And if you're not supporting Israel, you're supporting Hamas, a terrorist organization. And so when President Biden said he wants to hold back on those arms sales, he is holding back on Israel's ability to go and fight a war against Hamas.
But the bill is expected to go no further, since Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer won't bring it up for a vote. And on Thursday, the national religious broadcasters reissued a letter sent by more than 150 Christian leaders to President Biden. The letter expressed concern for the White House's unprecedented interference in the affairs of a close ally and called for a course correction. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
I just want to look South Africa in the face and say, are you kidding me? You're asking for the unconditional withdrawal of the IDF from Gaza with the full knowledge that they still hold hostages, with the full knowledge they're still firing rockets into Israel. And you never hear that report anymore. It's always about the innocents and what's happening to the poor Palestinians. They're still firing rockets at Israel. What in the world do you expect Israel to do? They have to defend themselves. They have to set their citizens free. In all of this, please keep in mind what Hamas has said. If they find any foreign troops trying to get humanitarian aid into Gaza, they're going to fire on them. They have no interest in their own citizens. They are not trying to protect anything. All they're dedicated to do is to attack Israel. That is their reason for being. You find it in their founding charter. They were started by the Muslim Brotherhood about 20 years ago. And you look at these founding principles and you go, you can't be serious. That's why you exist. Let us take them seriously at what they say. They want to attack Israel again and again and again until Israel doesn't exist. Israel has to respond to that because they launched an attack on October 7th. They still hold hostages and they're still firing rockets. Israel has to respond. Now, here's a headline for you that I hope gets you very concerned, so concerned you want to talk to your member of Congress, you want to talk to your senator about this. More than 1 million Palestinians have been displaced from their homes because of the war in Gaza. Now the Biden administration may take an unusual step, and that unusual step is to bring them here to the United States. Please contact your member of Congress, your congressman. Please contact your senator and say, not on our watch. Every time Palestinians have gone to another country, they went to Jordan and they tried to overthrow the king. Lebanon used to be the jewel of the Mediterranean, and then in the early 1970s, after the failed coup in Jordan, Lebanon said, well, we're wonderful over here. We know how everybody can get along. Muslims, Christians, Jews, we can all get along in Lebanon. Please come to Lebanon. And now Lebanon is a wasteland because of what happened. These are radicalized people who have been taught from birth to hate Jews. If you think what is going on in our college campuses is of concern, add 1 million people who have been trained from birth to hate Jews and to kill Jews. What kind of America will that be if they're allowed on our shores?